voice can break the dark. A single spark ignites the heart. But if we turn when justice calls, the chains we forge will bind us all. When truth is silenced, when lies take hold, the cost is freedom, the soul grows cold. No one stands tall while another must fall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, defending every voice, defending every right. For the moment we falter, the moment we stall, we lose our own freedom when we let others fall. You can't stand free while others kneel. When justice fades, it's freedom they steal. An innocent condemned, a crime unspoken, and with it the bond of liberty is broken. No tyrant rules without our consent. Oppression thrives where silence is spent. Stand for the weak, the silence the small, or freedom will crumble for us all. We're mavericks of freedom, guardians of the light, fighting for the truth, for what is just and right. For the rights of one are the rights of all. We rise or we fall by answering the call. Even those we may oppose deserve the rights we all uphold. For if we deny them what is fair, we build our own prison in despair. The fight's not easy, it never will be, but justice for one is the key to be free. We stand as mavericks, together we strive, defending the rights that keep freedom alive. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, upholding every truth, protecting every right. When one is oppressed, we're all in the thrall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. So take a stand, let your courage rise. Defend the truth, don't compromise. For the soul of the world, the writing's on the wall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for
Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Okay, auto industry layoffs announced today. Welcome back, everybody, to the Maverick News Channel. We're going live in just a moment to the Pierre Poilievre Conservative election rally in Windsor, Ontario. To many, the Motor City, Canada's automotive capital, although some would say maybe not anymore, maybe Oshawa or maybe Oakville, but Windsor. There's where it all began. Where Pierre with me, we're going to live feed to the copyrighted music. The live direct. Stay with me. We'll be right back on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. Pierre Poilievre's wife on stage right now introducing him. Let's go to her.
And that is why it is my pleasure, by my husband's side, every single day of this campaign to fight with him to restore the Canadian promise. And it is my pleasure to share him with all of you. My husband, the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre.
I'm going to pull this down because I don't want the copyright strike on that music. They were lined up outside, of course, kind of around the building, warehouse there in Windsor, Ontario. And as you can see, it's a packed house again. So he has momentum. That is that much is certain. The crowd's big for political rallies, that's for sure. And I'll tell you this, for a Conservative to draw a crowd like this in Windsor, a Labour town, it shows a few things. It shows that he has momentum, that momentum is on his side in Ontario, and certainly the southern part of Ontario. It also shows that we've seen a shift politically in this country where the Conservative Party has now become, I would say, the party of the working class. And in that respect, the Conservative Party of Canada has captured, I would say, the populist vote. They've eaten the PPC, the People's Party of Canada, lunch. They've scooped up their support. Maxime Bernier of the PPC sitting at about 1.5% in the latest polls. The CPCs, Conservative Party of Canada, under Poilievre, definitely riding a wave. Now, I still believe that, the polling is more accurate than some want you to think. I think it is close in this election race, but I would say at this point, just based on what we've seen in the past week, the Conservatives probably have a bit of an edge. He's probably closed the gap and is probably leading in real terms, not just based on what we're seeing in the polls. That's an educated guess based on the empirical evidence before us, the real evidence. And some of what I'm saying is based on just anecdotal information and observation. But yeah, this is a big crowd for a Conservative in Windsor. Traditionally Liberal and NDP territory. I mean, I worked in Windsor. I lived there for well over a decade as a journalist, and I'll tell you, when I was living and working there, it was like good luck getting a Conservative elected. It happened from time to time, but at various levels of government. But that was a tough slog. Tonight, though, you're seeing a new era emerging in politics. Not to say that it's a shoe-in, that he's definitely going to win, but a shift in the Overton window. Here we go.
Who's going to vote to axe some taxes for a change? Who's voting to stand up for Canadian workers for a change? Who's going to vote to build some homes you can afford for a change? Who's going to vote to stop the crime for a change? And who's voting to put Canada first for a change? And I know just the team to vote for. We've got the team that's going to deliver that change. Let's hold up that sign back there. Look at that, change, right there. It's written there, right there, change. Put that one down just a little lower. Keep Kathy up, but not quite high enough to block the change. Kathy doesn't want to block the change. She wants to help us deliver the change. And that's what we're going to deliver. And we've got the incredible Conservative team to do it. We've got the great Chris Lewis. Give it up for him. Harbinder Gill. Kathy Borelli. Farmer, businessman, parliamentarian, negotiator, man who's got plenty of common sense and who's going to help deliver change on Parliament Hill, Dave Epp. There he is. But before I go any further, I have to take a moment to celebrate one of the great citizens of Windsor. We have here the local leader, the business manager of the IBEW Local 773, Carl Lovett. What a great speech. This is a shocking endorsement coming from the electricians. Okay, all right, I thought it was good. Dad joke. I've got 2 kids now. I'm allowed to tell those jokes. Just one. My wife says I'm only allowed to tell one every speech. But you know, I remember when I met Carl. I drove over to the IBW local, and when I got there, there was a sign that said, "Only Canadian-made cars allowed on the lot." And he's warned me that you got to be careful you don't get a flat tire if you're not driving a Canadian-made car on his lot. He's a very patriotic guy. We sat down and talked, and the first thing he wanted to talk about were not politics, not policy. He wanted to talk to me about hunting and fishing. He loves to hunt and fish. Then the second thing, he wanted to talk about his family. And then he wanted to talk about all his friends and how proud he was to be from Windsor, and how proud he was of the electricians that he represents and fights for, and how his only wish for this country is that once again we put our workers first for a change. Thank you, Carl. And on that subject, I regret to have to begin tonight with the terrible news of the layoffs at the GM plant in Ingersoll. I spoke to the union representative for the area, Mike, earlier today, who was heartbroken and rattled with the conversations he would be having later that day with family members, learning that they would be going, friends and family and brothers and sisters would be going home to tell their kids that they no longer have a job. Now, let's start with the obvious fact that the destructive tariffs of Donald Trump are utterly unacceptable and wrong, and we will fight back against them. But we will also fight to protect the jobs of our workers. Conservatives will put in place a fund to give liquidity to our manufacturers, to keep paying workers, keep them employed, minimize the disruption until hopefully we can get this dispute resolved. We also intend to incentivize Canadians to buy Canadian-made automobiles. And that's why I'm pleased to announce that as Prime Minister, for as long as these tariffs are in place, there will be no federal sales tax on Canadian-made cars and trucks. We will fight for the workers, and we need a plan to do that. But right now, the Liberals, under Mark Carney, have no such plan. He told Canadians that he had a very productive phone call with Donald Trump and that they made progress. Well, what progress? Just days after this productive call, Trump actually increased tariffs on Canada, and then a few weeks later, he paused the tariffs on almost every country in the world except Canada. Now, to be clear, I'm not blaming Mr. Carney for Mr. Trump's wrong-headed tariffs. Nobody can control what President Trump does. But that's exactly the point. Mark Carney is running on the false promise that somehow he can magically handle Trump or control him into doing what he wants, when it's precisely the opposite is the case. Obviously, we will fight to get an end to the tariffs while protecting our sovereignty, starting on day one. But we must focus on what we can control in this country. And what we can control is reversing the disastrous liberal economic policies that put us in this position of weakness in the first place. That is the lost liberal decade that Mark Carney is trying to distract you from. In fact, the entire liberal campaign is about trying to make you forget about the last decade. Pretend it just never happened, as if we didn't have 40-year highs in inflation. It just didn't happen. As if that we didn't see food prices rise 37% faster in Canada than they did in the United States under that lost liberal decade. Make you forget that housing costs have doubled in Canada, rising faster than in any other G7 country, that it costs 50% more for a home on the Canadian side of the border than on the US side, and that you can actually buy a castle in Sweden for a lower price than a mid-size house in Kitchener. They want you to forget that Canada has had the worst growth in the G7, the worst household debt in that same group of nations, that our economy has been shrinking for a decade in per capita terms, all before the Trump tariffs kicked in. They want you to forget that $500 billion of our investment dollars have fled south, and they want you to forget that all of these economic failures happened while Mark Carney was acting as Justin Trudeau's economic advisor. Now, the same Liberal MPs, same Liberal ministers, same Liberal strategists are trying to get you to elect them to a fourth term in power. My friends, after the lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime, we cannot afford a fourth term. We need a change in government with a Conservative Party that will put Canada first for a change. Aujourd'hui, M. Carney a essayé d'éviter l'imputabilité en suspendant sa campagne électorale. Il dit travailler sur les tarifs. Mais quels sont les résultats? Zéro résultat aujourd'hui. En fait, il y a plus de tarifs sur le Canada aujourd'hui qu'il y en avait quand M. Carney est devenu le premier ministre. Mes amis, il veut que vous oubliez le fait que les libéraux ont doublé le coût de la vie, ont augmenté la criminalité pour vous faire tromper et vous convaincre de les élire pour une quatrième fois. Il ne faut pas le faire. Il nous faut un vrai changement avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur. My friends, we need a plan to put our country first, to get us back on top. Look at this young guy over here. How old is he? Right on Dad's shoulder. Young, he's too young to vote, unfortunately. Look at this incredible kid. We got kids from all ages. He just popped up. We got some more kids over here. It's their future that we're fighting for, isn't it? They deserve a brighter future. We want to bring back the great Canadian promise. So that little guy and that little girl over there will have the chance to work hard, buy a house, start their own family, live on a safe street, have a beautiful life here in a wonderful country. That's what we had growing up, and that's what we want to restore for all. But that means bringing it home. You know, we were chanting the Bring It Home slogan. It is meaningful, that slogan. It means two things. It means bringing back our jobs to this country, and it means that you bring home more of each dollar you earn so that hard work once again pays off. That's what it means. And it starts with income tax. In Canada, we have these high income taxes. They're like a fine that you pay for the crime of working hard, right? I love this meme of this kid. He's in this park with his dad. And the kid's bawling his eyes out. He's asked his dad, "What is income tax?" And his dad says, "Well, it's like a high school report card, except the opposite. The harder you work, the worse you do. You put in an extra hour, you pay more. You get a bonus, you pay more. You get a promotion, you pay more. No good deed goes unpunished with our Income Tax Act." That's why Conservatives want to change things. We want to make work pay again. And I'm announcing today, this is a Liberal microphone, I think. That's why I'm announcing today, Conservatives will cut income tax by 15% for the average senior and worker. So you keep more of each dollar you earn, and hard work actually pays off for a change. As I said, we will be axing sales taxes on Canadian-made cars, but you need a home to park that car in the front of. And right now, housing costs are among the most expensive in the world here in Canada. Are they pricey in Windsor? They've gone through the roof, but there's no roof because there's no house you can afford. So why is that? Well, the answer is because bureaucracy blocks home building, and politicians tax the purchase of a house. 1/3 of the cost of every new home in Ontario today is direct taxes. Sales taxes, land transfer taxes. We have also these development charges, which are effectively municipal taxes. Then there's the delays. It takes 7 years to get a building permit, 3 times as long as it does in the US or the UK. All of those delays bring costs, and those costs go to the home buyer. And that's why it's almost twice as expensive in many border towns to buy a house than it is on the south side, or in this case, it's not the south side, but you get my point, on the American side of the border. So we have to tackle the problem. And that's why I will lead the charge in slashing bureaucracy and taxes on homes. We will eliminate the GST on new homes of under $1.3 million. But we're not finished. Then I'm going to make a generous offer to your mayor and every mayor. I will pay half the cost of any reduction they make in their home building taxes, up to 50 grand. So let's put it this way. Imagine you cut the GST by 50 grand on a home, you cut municipal taxes by another 50 grand on a home, all of a sudden you have $100,000 less tax on a new home. That'll cause more home building and more affordable homes for you to buy. And then there's investment taxes. Now, a lot of time we hear the word investment, everybody's eyes glaze over. They say, why should I care about what investment number the Canadian economy gets? Well, the answer is, those are the tools, the technology, the plants, the shop floors, you've got the CNC machines, the conveyor belts. All of that takes investment. And without those machines, we don't have paychecks. Well, the Liberals have raised taxes on investment and driven $500 billion of that investment south because capital goes where capital grows. Now, it's funny, they thought they were going to win over a lot of union workers when they raised capital gains tax. They didn't realize that tradesmen actually like to buy homes, fix them up, beautify them, make them better, and then sell them off to a deserving family as part of a living, and they have to pay capital gains tax for that good deed. So a lot of small business people get hammered with it as well. And that locks in investment and locks down our economy. That's why I want to bring the money home. And so I've announced the Canada First reinvestment tax cut. Zero capital gains tax if you reinvest the money here in Canada. Bring it home. That's what it means to bring it home. That will allow, for example, a factory that has some unused land, sell it off to a home builder who can build some homes, and then the factory can use the money to expand and hire more workers. It'll allow a small businessman who's selling out after 25 or 30 years to reinvest that money in another Canadian enterprise, or a high-tech entrepreneur to invent a new technology and create more stuff that make us all better off. We have to get rid of the worst tax of all, though. It's the inflation tax. The inflation tax happens when the government prints money to pay for out-of-control spending, and you pay the bill through higher costs for everything. Geez, it sounds like a helicopter's landing on the roof or something. What's that? I think it's just the audio machine, so nobody has to freak out. But anyway, listen, like I said, it's a Liberal microphone, it's a Liberal speaker system, but we're going to talk right through it. The reality is, we'll push right through it. The reality is the government has caused the worst inflation in 40 years as a result of increasing our money supply. This is bills, coins, and bank deposits from $1.8 trillion to $2.5 trillion, all to fund reckless deficits advised on Justin Trudeau by Mark Carney. Now, you might say, well, what's wrong with having all this extra money? Isn't money a good thing? Well, if there's stuff to buy with it. But if you increase the supply of money faster than the stuff that money buys, well, then you bid up the cost of everything. If you have an economy with 10 apples and $10, well, it's $1 an apple. If you double the number of dollars to 20, and you still only have 10 apples, you're not twice as rich. Each apple now costs twice as much. Now, the people who get that newly printed money first, those in the financial system, those with the contacts, they get rich because they get to spend and invest the money before it loses its value. But everyone else gets poor, and that's why your purchasing power goes down. You see, the costs are not going up. The buying power of your money is going down. That is what inflation is. And it's all the result of massive overspending in Ottawa. We're going to end the overspending. We will cut bureaucracy, consultants, handouts to corporate insiders, foreign aid, and other waste so that we can bring our money home and bring inflation down. We will also bring in a dollar-for-dollar law. It will run our finances the way you run your household budget. If you increase spending here, you decrease it over there, or you get a bargain here and there. That's not how government works. You see, because politicians and bureaucrats are the only creatures in the universe that don't have to deal with scarcity. They're spending other people's money. As a result, they just add more and more to your bill. By imposing a law that requires they find an equal number of savings for each new dollar of spending, it will require them to maximize use of scarce resources, to get more value for money, and to make the same kinds of trade-offs in the government bureaucracy that you have to make in your daily life. Because single moms, small businesses, and seniors have been pinching their pennies long enough, it's time that government started pinching its pennies. And so this election is really about the cost of living. Do we want a fourth Liberal term of rising costs and taxes? Or is it time to bring down the cost of living, protect your purchasing power, and lower your taxes for a change? You see, I like this. Let's bring it home. Let's axe the tax. Smart lady over there. Great sign. We've got some good signs. Very smart people in Windsor. We've got another axe the tax sign. Fantastic. What else have we got? We've got jail, not bail. That's right. Excellent. Protect jobs. Change. Lots of change. Lots of people want change today, that's for sure. This guy has WTF on his shirt. WTF. I said that in the House of Commons, and the Speaker thought that I was being unparliamentary. I was just asking, where's the funds? Right? It's a pretty fair question. Oh, this is interesting. But my glasses are still on. Why haven't you removed my glasses yet? They fell off. Pretty good looking picture, eh? What do you think? Thank you. That's a pretty impressive sign. Well, listen, instead of creating more cash, what we need to do is create more of what cash buys. Oh, we have what do we have here? Somebody, okay.
Uh-oh. What is going on? Hang on, we got an audio issue here. Or what is happening here? It's interesting. Hecklers? Well, I'm not sure what's happening, folks, but must be a heckler, I guess. An incident at the Pierre Poilievre rally. I'm looking in the chat, does anybody have any idea what's going on? Medical attention? I don't know. And they've turned the audio down, or you can't hear anything because the mic isn't picking anything. Here we go. Now we're getting a look. Okay. Silent movies for the moment. Well, another eventful day. Mark Carney meeting meeting in Ottawa, special meeting on Canada-U.S. relations. So he's not really out on the campaign trail today, dealing with that. And we're just getting a picture of the Canadian flag. This is a campaign feed, so they're not showing us what is going on. But this young lady is becoming a celebrity. That's I don't know what the deal is. Hang on, maybe I can figure it out from over here. Trying to get some information here for you. I'm not sure what's going on, to be honest. Well, if I get any information, I'll share it with you.
All right, everybody, she's going to be okay. Give her a round of applause. You know, sometimes when I get droning on a little bit long, I put people to sleep. So it's a cure for insomnia. But my friends, I appreciate you all standing on your feet so long. What an incredible crowd we have here. This is amazing. I know it. It's a long time to stand up. In fact, CBC is reporting that there's over 25 people at our rally today. Numbers were never their strength. But numbers rule the universe, as Pythagoras said. And the numbers count. We need to bring home our investment dollars as well. That means unlocking our resources. And part of my Bring It Home plan is to repeal the No New Development Liberal Law C-69. We're going to build Canadian pipelines, Canadian factories. We're going to dig Canadian mines. We're going to build great Canadian can-do reactors with Canadian uranium powering them. And this is a big difference, because on the other side, Mark Carney wants to keep all of the same keep it in the ground extremism as his predecessor and protege, Justin Trudeau. Mr. Carney, he says he wants to keep C-69, the no development law, keep the energy cap that blocks our industry from producing more oil and gas while allowing the Americans, Venezuelans, and Saudis to produce as much as they want. He says that 80% of our oil will have to stay in the ground, which means that's like burying our biggest and most important financial asset. This is a great way to make us even more reliant on the Americans, but that's the choice in this election. Do you want, after a lost Liberal decade, to keep our wealth in the ground, block our resources, and depend on the Americans for a fourth Liberal term, or do you want to unlock the power of Canadian energy, Canadian mines, Canadian steel, and bring it home? You know, we're also going to get rid of the entire carbon tax, the industrial tax, the whole thing. Axe the tax. We're going to axe the tax. This is a tax the Liberals put in place for 7 years. They expect to fool Canadians by hiding it at the gas pumps for 28 days, even though it is still on the books. And they could raise it right back up the day after the next election if, God forbid, they were to win again. Mr. Carney says he wants to hit Canadian steel, aluminum, potash, and other essentials with this tax. I will axe the tax for real, for everyone, for good, for a change. We will cut 25% of the rules and regulations that the Government of Canada imposes so that our small businesses spend less time filling out paperwork and more time hiring workers and serving customers. We're going to unlock the power of our entrepreneurs again, and we're going to reinvest in the next generation of people who build stuff, make stuff, move stuff, and make stuff. Are working tradespeople in this country. Boots, not suits. Do we have any trades in the room today? Wow. Look at this. What do you do, sir? What are you? A bricklayer. You know, Winston Churchill was actually a bricklayer. He wasn't very good at it. It's too hard a job for a politician to do, but nevertheless, a very important job. So you a mason as well? Okay, full-on mason. Fantastic. That's tough work. It requires a lot of patience. What about the gentleman behind you? CNC machinist. That takes a lot of brain power. Those machines are very impressive. Anybody, what do we got over here? You're a steam fitter? Plumber, right on, plumber. A good union plumber. United Association? Right on, you got a great union. Nate, yes, your union has endorsed us as well. Thank you very much to the plumbers and pipe fitters. Nathan Bergstrand. What do we got over here? What's that? A tool maker. Okay, so welder. Excellent. That's fantastic. Yes, who else do we got? We got another trades. Yes, this young lady here. A laborer. Excellent. Very important. Hard work. Thank you very much. Very young lady. You know, I'm actually doing an apprenticeship myself. Cabinet maker. Cabinet maker. Okay. I stole that joke from John A. MacDonald, the truth is be told. What do we got over here? What do we got over here, Tommy? We got carpenters everywhere. The guys with the hammers. Amazing. You know, the tradespeople are the future. I tell every young person, get yourself a trade. Not only will you have a practical skill, it'll teach you how to solve problems. It will teach you how things work. You can then turn that into a business and employ a lot of people. The best business people I make today are actually from a trades background. It's not the lawyers and the MBAs anymore. It's the tradespeople. They're the ones that are going to be ruling the world. And we need more of them. And we've got a real plan to do it. I've announced that I'm going to be partnering with unions like the UA, the IBEW, and many more to fund 350,000 training placements for our young people in the trades. We will bring back the $4,000 apprenticeship grant. We'll speed up the EI so that our workers can have money in their pocket when they're taking time to do their placement. We'll also bring tax fairness. A CEO can write off the cost of his private jet, but right now the working guy or the working lady can only write off $4,000 to travel between job sites. So you're flying to Fort Mac 20 times a year. You're not going to make it on $4,000. So we're going to bring in the bill from Chris Lewis, a great bill. Tax Fairness for Traveling Trades Workers Act, so you can write off the full cost of food, transportation, and accommodation to go from one job to another. And every high school principal is going to get a present from me. It's going to be a big box, the size of this stage. In that box will be a module for each licensed trade so that they can get their 13, 14, 15-year-old kids started on a pre-apprenticeship so that they can get a jump start on a Red Seal before they even graduate from high school. Boots, not suits, what I call it. But we want these great tradespeople to bring the jobs and their paychecks home to safe neighborhoods. So we have to stop the crime for a change. Is there any crime in Windsor? Out of control. Out of control. You know, your 16-year-old daughter. Wow. Did you hear that? He said this guy killed a young lady. He was out in 7 years and did it again. These are the stories we hear every day. Rampant offenders offending again and again and again. Do you know they tell the police now that they are not even worried about getting caught? It's too much trouble to try and avoid getting caught. So they don't even bother with it. They get arrested, and then they're released again. The good news is we don't actually have a lot of criminals in Canada. The bad news is they are very productive. The same 40 offenders had to be arrested 6,000 times in Vancouver. In Penticton, there's one guy named Levi. When he's out of jail, he raises the crime rate for the entire city. Everyone in Penticton knows this guy. We've seen the countless stories of people murdered by someone who's out on bail, even after they've committed multiple offenses. Women who are pleading with the system to keep their abuser behind bars, but they keep letting him out, and he comes back and reoffends and threatens the children. My friends, this is the madness that resulted from Liberal catch and release law C-75, which requires judges release rampant offenders at, quote, the earliest opportunity and under the least onerous conditions. That's the law. Then there's C-5, the house arrest bill. So you can do serious violent sexual or drug crimes and serve your sentence in your living room, watching Netflix or playing Grand Theft Auto while you run the clock down on your sentence. And then there's C-83, the Liberal get Paul Bernardo out of jail free card, which allows him. My friends, we will repeal each and every one of these laws. Catch and release, gone. House arrest, gone. Paul Bernardo, back to a maximum security penitentiary. We will bring in mandatory life sentences for human traffickers and mass gun smugglers. And anyone convicted of 3 separate serious offenses will be permanently ineligible for bail, parole, probation, or house arrest. 3 strikes, and you're out. 3 strikes, you're out. And then there's the drugs. There's the drugs that have overtaken our communities. Fentanyl, methamphetamines, and countless others. These deadly drugs are worse than anything we ever knew. When I was a kid, we were terrified of heroin. Our parents told us to be absolutely terrified of heroin. Do you know fentanyl is 100 times more powerful than heroin? 2 milligrams of fentanyl can kill a human being. And yet, traffickers get out of jail after they sell kilograms of it. Then we have the government actually handing out opioids. They claim it's a safe supply. Well, if you get a safe supply of opioids from the government, then you won't overdose or die from a contamination, they say. The result has been that the dealers sell these government-funded drugs to kids at a discount and use the money to graduate up to fentanyl. And that has led to 50,000 deaths. My friends, these stories are tragic, and I hear them everywhere I go. Mothers and fathers telling me of their wonderful children. Some of them made one mistake, went to a party, had too much to drink, and took a single hit, which stopped their lungs. Others who got trapped because they took an opioid to relieve pain and never broke the addiction. Either way, the heartbreak is unbelievable. One man wrote me a letter saying that he held his wife's hand when she gave birth to their little baby boy. And then he held her hand 25 years later when the police knocked on the door to tell her that her boy had died of an overdose on a street corner. These stories have got to stop, and we have the plan to stop it. To start with, we will bring in mandatory life sentences for anyone caught marketing over 40 milligrams of fentanyl. Second, we will defund the opioids, and we will bring back penalties, criminal fines for illegal possession. Third, we will invest in treatment, recovery, and rehabilitation. We've lost 50,000 people to opioid overdoses. In honor of every single one of them, we will fund treatment for 50,000 Canadians to bring our loved ones home drug-free. I told the young men that I met over at the Moncton Harvest House Treatment Center that I needed a favor from them. I said, I need you to get better so that you can get back on your feet, go back onto the street, and grab another person off the street, pull them in here so that they can get better, and then they're going to go out on the street and they're going to pull another person off the street, and that cycle of hope is going to end this crisis and save our loved ones. That's what hope means. And then there's our border, which, 99% of shipping containers come and go uninspected in Canada. You wonder where the drugs, guns, stolen cars move through our border? It's in those shipping containers. We don't even allow CBSA to monitor the points between official ports of entry. So people can just walk or send drones over the border, breaking our laws and threatening our people. My friends, enough is enough. We're going to secure the border. We will bring in watchtowers along the duration of the border. We'll hire 2,000 frontline CBSA officers by cutting consultants and bureaucracy to pay for it. And we're going to have high-powered scanners that look into the shipping containers to intercept the contraband. And you know how we're going to pay for it all? In addition to cutting back on the wasteful back-office bureaucracy and consultants, we are also going to cut the wasteful multi-billion-dollar gun grab. Licensed, law-abiding, trained and tested sports shooters and hunters are not the problem. But Mark Carney and the Liberals, do we have any hunters in the room today? The Liberals will ban every single hunting rifle. Just the other day, Mark Carney re-announced Justin Trudeau's already broken promise on this file, promising to go after the lawful people, the ones who have already been vetted by the RCMP, have taken tests, are lawfully storing their property. He wants to waste billions of dollars and tens of thousands of police hours going around harassing Grandpa Joe, who has a hunting rifle. All the police think it's insane. The Toronto Police Association said this will make us less safe because they'll be spending their time going after the good guys instead of the bad guys. This misses the target, my friends. I will repeal C-21. We will protect hunters. We will honor the people who lawfully follow the rules, and instead we will secure our borders and lock up those who sneak in with guns. Those people will go to jail for life, and our hunters will have a good life here in Canada. So the choice in the next election is, after the lost Liberal decade of rising crime, do we want to trust them with a fourth term, or is it time for a change with a new government that will protect licensed, law-abiding people and bring safety back to our streets for a change? But to make our country truly safe, we need to rebuild the Canadian Armed Forces. We will invest in recruitment to fill the vacancies that have so long grown up over the lost Liberal decade. We will buy 4 massive Arctic icebreakers. We'll double the size of the first patrol of the Canadian Arctic Rangers, and we will build the first Arctic base in the Northern Arctic since the Cold War, CFB Iqaluit. We're going to expand the cadets to give our young people mentorship under the guidance of military and ranger members who will teach them about punctuality, discipline, and countless other lessons that will apply as they learn to serve their country and prepare for the future. We will put our country first and unite our people by fixing the broken Liberal immigration system. We had the best immigration system in the world before the Liberals ruined it. They took on this radical century initiative, which seeks to increase our population to over 100 million people. We've seen the results. Adding people 3 times faster than we add homes leaves people without a place to live. And it's not the fault of the people coming into the country. They're good folks. They just want a better life. It's the fault of the Liberal government that has let this system spin out of control. When I'm Prime Minister, God willing, if I'm given the privilege, we will fix this system. We will end the fraud in the international student program. We will stop allowing corporations to undermine wages by bringing in too many temporary foreign workers. And we will cap population growth so that it is always below the growth in the housing stock, the job market, and in our healthcare system. We will bring our people together again. We're going to unite around our common identity, my friends. We're going to rebuild our statues, raise our flags, put our Canadian heroes back in our passport. We're no longer going to apologize for being Canadian. We're going to stand up for this country, bring our money home, put our people back in charge of their lives. But the only way you will get this change is if you vote for it. Are you going to get out and vote? Are you going to tell all your friends and neighbors that they need to get out and vote? Because you're voting for hope, you're voting for change, you're voting for Canada to have a bright future again. We will be a nation that harvests its resources, trades from Canadian to Canadian, builds homes for its youth, secures its borders, protects its vulnerable, honors its history, rebuilds its military, and raises its flag. We are not a nation of tax collectors and toll masters, of gatekeepers and grandees, of rulers and rule makers. No, we are a nation of artists and adventurers, of entrepreneurs and explorers, of workers and warriors, of pioneers and patriots. What binds us together is the Canadian promise that anyone who works hard can get a great life. That is the hope of Canada. So my message to you, if you are that single mother going to bed hungry, wondering how you'll feed your kids in the morning, have hope, because change is on the way. To the auto worker, the steel worker, the aluminum worker who's worried about losing your job, have hope, because change is on the way. To the mistreated veteran who wonders why his government disrespects him, that will be the case no longer. We thank you and we say, have hope, because change is on the way for you too. We will restore the great Canadian promise that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful and affordable home on a safe street, protected by brave troops under a proud flag. Canada first for a change. Let's bring it home, Windsor. Thank you.
Okay. I need to, there it is. I need to pull that audio down before we get hit with that copyright strike. So a little bit of an incident there in the middle of the rally. I guess it was another medical thing. I'm not sure. But whatever it is, I think they resolved it, and then they got things back on track. So that was good. And we'll pull this down. Let's take a little break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll touch on some of today's top news stories when we return.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
We're back. So today, what else can I tell you? Well, we have the end of a rocky week on the stock market because of all these tariffs and all the uncertainty that they have they brought along with them. Let's show you where we ended up at the end of the week. There it is. Here's the take from mainstream media, ABC.
We are going to begin with stocks seesawing to close out a historically tumultuous week on Wall Street as President Trump's trade war rattles markets all across the globe. The closing bell ringing on Wall Street, the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P 500 all ending the day on a high note, but still, since the start of the month, down. It comes as China slaps new tariffs on U.S. goods, raising them to 125% in retaliation for the U.S. placing 145% tariffs on Chinese imports. China is America's third biggest trading partner. As many economists predict, everything from cell phones, computers, to clothing, car parts, furniture, to household goods will all cost you more as this trade war escalates. Let's get right to ABC News political contributor and NPR White House correspondent Asma Khalid at Washington.
Okay, we got the idea. My God, 145%. When you're not seeing it yet, I don't think, but when you look ahead, say 4 to 6 weeks from now, when inventories are drawn down at retailers and just in the economy in general, when I say inventories, I mean just inventories on store shelves, in warehouses, etc. Then you're really going to start to see the price impact at the cash register for consumers. And then people are going to go into sticker shock. Because with 145% tariffs, everything you're buying at Walmart, it will more than double in price if it comes from China. And today, Mark Carney, as I say, not really in full campaign mode because he was back in Ottawa and was meeting with the Canada-U.S. Relations Cabinet Committee, and then came out and had this to say. Oh, just a little bit of a pause here. Here we go. Mark Carney.
As you know, just convened the Canada-U.S. Committee, had a good long discussion on several aspects. The first is the general situation. In the last week, there have been a lot of developments in terms of U.S. tariff policy, reactions from others, including China, really marked tightening in financial conditions, a slowing, the initial signs of slowing in the global economy, impacts that we're starting to see unfortunately in the Canadian economy, particularly in the Canadian labor market. We reviewed our response to those tariffs, our core strategy of to fight, to protect, and to build. We left instructions for officials to ensure that the next government, whichever government Canadians choose, will be in the best possible position for negotiations with the United States, which, as the President and I have agreed, will begin from the start of May. En français, je viens de...
Okay, well, we don't need it in French because we had it in English. Yeah, rocky week. And here's Scott Lucas. Scott is very smart guy. He's a U.S. politics professor at the Clinton Institute. This is him on Times Radio. Just share this with you. He's usually pretty reserved with his language, but today, not pulling any punches in his criticism of Donald Trump and his economic policies. Oh, hang on. Oh, for crying out loud. I'm sorry. Come on, computer. What am I looking at here? My apologies. There we go. This is what we want.
Is a wannabe bully. Trump's legacy is a wannabe bully trying to rip apart the international system and the U.S. system to get personal profit in terms of power and, yes, money. His legacy is as a wannabe bully who is being undone by the fact that he is an economic moron.
That was just the headline clip from that interview. I do take in Times Radio, and they have some great guests on there, some great contributors. I recommend you go to watch his entire interview. It's he's a sharp guy and really dialed in politically. Poilievre today, going back to Poilievre just briefly, wishing Jewish families in Canada and around the world a blessed Passover. Let me share his address. Well, I almost had it. Only about 20 clicks with this system to get something on the screen. But other than that, it's very streamlined. Here we go.
Over the coming days, Jewish families will come together to mark the start of Passover and retell the story of their people's miraculous exodus from hundreds of years of enslavement in Egypt and their return to the Promised Land. At its core, the Passover story is one of unwavering hope. It inspired generations of Jews and non-Jews alike with the message that oppression can always be overcome, encouraging those who are subjugated to never relent in their fight for freedom. As Jews in Israel and around the world gather around the Seder table, we are reminded that for many, the quest for freedom is ongoing. As Israel continues to fight to free the remaining hostages from Hamas's captivity, we join Jews everywhere in echoing their plea for freedom. Let my people go. Freedom for Israelis is to live in peace and security in their ancestral homeland. And freedom for Jewish people around the world is to live free from anti-Semitism, where they can pray and worship and serve God and their community in peace and safety. And so from my family to yours, I wish you a wonderful, rewarding, enriching Passover. Chag Sameach Samach.
Yeah. So with that, take a little break. Come back on the other side.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back. This is hilarious and yet maybe disturbing at the same time. This stuff just does not seem to end. Oh my goodness. I keep losing my tabs. What does that mean? It means that I had this thing queued up for you, and then I lost it again. Frustrating. Hang on. I do apologize. Sorry, it just fell off the screen. I'll be right back. Still working on it.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay, look at this headline. Trump replaces Obama portrait with painting of who else? Himself. This guy's ego is out of control. Donald Trump, it says in this story, took his rivalry with Barack Obama to the walls of the White House today, replacing a portrait of the former U.S. president with one of himself surviving that assassination attempt. The 78-year-old Republican moved the picture of the Democrat, the only black U.S. president, to the opposite side of the famed residence's grand entrance hallway. Here's, let's watch this on X. There's a video from the White House about this today. Yeah, we'll just watch it right here. There it is. Okay. Wow. Enough said. It's just enough said. I don't know what else to tell you about that. There isn't anything else. It just is what it is. It's Friday. That's what it is. Man alive. Auto industry layoffs. So yeah, there's Poilievre down there in Windsor, Auto Town. The talk all across political circles today is all about the auto industry layoffs. GM announcing, I believe, 500 jobs being sidelined at least until next month sometime at the Cami Automotive plant, which is a General Motors facility, about half an hour, 40 minutes outside of London, Ontario. Mark Carney saying today's layoffs are deeply painful news. for auto workers in Ingersoll and for workers throughout Canada's auto industry. My government is fighting to defend our auto sector, protect our workers, and build our supply chains. In Canada, we've made it easier for affected workers to access support, including waiving the EI waiting period. My team and I have been in regular contact with Unifor President Lana Payne, and our Canada-US Cabinet Committee has laid plans to ensure that whichever government Canadians choose in this important election, Canada is ready to negotiate with the United States from a position of strength. We will fight every day for the workers who build this country. So Carney with more strong words for President Trump. Poilievre also responding. And Jagmeet Singh. Maybe I can get you Poilievre first. Here it is. This is Poilievre's response. I'm incredibly saddened by the layoffs at GM Cami Assembly Plant in Ingersoll. This morning I spoke with Unifor Local 88 GM plant person Mike Van Bokel and expressed my commitment to protect Canadian auto workers. We will keep them working so they can keep their jobs as we fight through this mess. The Conservative government will push hard to put an end to these tariffs and get a quick but fair deal that protects our sovereignty and our economy. Conservatives will be there for the auto workers in Ingersoll, Oshawa, Cambridge, Brampton, Windsor, Essex, St. Catharines, Oakville, Alliston, and Woodstock. And finally, Jagmeet Singh, who says the layoffs at Ingersoll GM plant are devastating. Hundreds of working people are worried about how they'll keep food on the table. It's time to put workers and jobs at the heart of Canada's tariff fight-back plan to raise EI so it actually covers the bills and to launch the Build Canadian, Buy Canadian action plan to keep more workers on the job. It's shocking and wrong that these things haven't happened already. New Democrats stand with working people, and we won't stop fighting alongside them. It's interesting to note, though, that GM is saying that the layoffs at the Cami Ingersoll facility are not directly related to the tariffs. That is where they're producing a vehicle called the Bright Drop. It's an electric truck van. It's a commercial vehicle that is being produced there. And it has that the layoffs are directly related to the level of demand for the vehicle. And I don't think they're selling anywhere near as well as they would like them to. And of course, now we have these additional disruptions, and it hasn't been good for GM. Their stock price is down, even though the company overall, as I said yesterday, has posted stronger than expected earnings in the last quarter. The stock's still taking a beating, and that is because of the tariffs and all the uncertainty that surrounds that. Now, that helicopter crash yesterday in New York, they're saying the tail section, the rotor, came right off the helicopter. It crashed into the Hudson River yesterday afternoon around 3:15 in the afternoon. And investigators say there was nothing the pilot could have done to save himself or the 5 passengers aboard because the aircraft's rotor blades and its whole tail boom detached midair. And it just, once that happens, you just have no control. And the helicopter just came straight down while it was traveling. And the National Transportation Safety Board is still investigating, but still no word on why the rotor and the tail section detached. They're only saying they're not ruling anything out at this point. So recovery efforts there for the wreckage and everything, the investigation ongoing. And we'll keep you updated on that in the days ahead too. Very strange crash. Why would the whole tail section, the boom, come apart like that? I don't know. A lot of speculation. Oh, yes, back to... This is interesting. Just a little side note. It's kind of local, but again, I think it gives you a glimpse into where we're at with this Canadian election. And and Windsor's mayor under some political scrutiny, because this is somewhat unusual, especially in Windsor, an auto town where traditionally it's tough to get a conservative elected, as I said earlier. Well, Drew Dilkins, the mayor of Windsor, I guess he set up a robocall to promote the conservative rally tonight with Pierre Poilievre. And then not only did we get a copy of the robocall here, I also took note that the local radio station, one of them, AM 800, also picked up on this, and they were talking about it during their morning program today and raising some questions like, is this even legal? Well, it is. At least it is legal for the mayor to endorse a political candidate in a federal election. Whether he got the list of people that the robocalls went out to, properly and followed the proper channels, I don't know. Minor point, likely. But they're just raising some questions. I think it took some people aback because, as I say, not traditionally conservative territory. This is what was said sort of this morning, just a portion of the broadcast leading up to the playing of the robocall itself.
As of this morning. So, we got to keep that in mind as well, when we're having these conversations until we hear from him. So,
Windsor, Ontario. All right, so we've been talking this morning. People were posting on social media last night about a robocall they got, and there's a Pierre Poilievre rally tonight in Windsor. And they said, wow, this robocall came from Mayor Drew Dilkins inviting me to go to this event. And some people are like, I don't think this is right, having our mayor endorse a certain client. We've received a copy of the robocall that went out. Here's how it sounded so you can judge for yourself.
This is Drew Dilkins calling, inviting you to join Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre for a Canada First rally in Windsor on Friday. You can reach the Conservative Party at 1-866-319-2247 or info@conservative.ca. Join Pierre Poilievre on Friday, April 11th at 6 p.m. at the warehouse at 2820 Dodge Drive, just north of the airport, right here in Windsor. Join Pierre Poilievre to hear about his Canada First plan to secure borders, lower taxes, stop crime and drugs, and bring home our jobs and money. To find out more, join Pierre Poilievre on Friday at 6 p.m. for a Windsor Canada First rally at 2820 Dodge Drive, just north of the airport. Again, it's Drew Dilkins calling. You can reach the Conservative Party at 1-866...
Yada, 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 yada. So talked to a lawyer this morning, and nothing illegal about a mayor endorsing a candidate like that. Said that what may come up is how he got the list of phone numbers and what resources he did to make the call. Otherwise, there's nothing illegal about it.
Of course.
In the courts anyway,
Yeah.
But in the court of public opinion, that may be different. We did reach out to Drew very early this morning. We have not heard back from him to get comment on that. And he did tell us earlier in the week that
he is not endorsing a federal candidate. That is what he told us a little bit earlier this week. But he did also say that,
Really? Because that sounds a whole lot like an endorsement to me. If that isn't an endorsement, I don't know what is. He was promoting the guy. He set up a robocall to invite people to go to a political rally and put his name to it and his voice. That's an endorsement. Yeah, that's an endorsement. Whether he sees it that way, it maybe is something else. But oh yeah, that's free publicity, free promotion equals endorsement. We'll see how that affects him in the next municipal election. I suppose it depends on how well the Conservatives perform and what they do for the community there. Whole auto industry in a whole bunch of turmoil right now. Here's Carolyn Levitt speaking of turmoil, from a border city to crossing the border to spending an extended amount of time beyond 30 days in the United States, all foreign nationals present in the United States longer than 30 days now must register with the federal government. That includes Canuckistanians. And failure to comply is a crime punishable by fines, imprisonment, or both. Yeah, so if you don't register before you head across the border from Canuckistania to the US of A, you will be arrested, fined, deported, never to return to the USA again. And take that to the bank, because Caroline Levitt is laying it on the line for all of us up here in the Great White North.
Deadline for registration under the Alien Registration Act is today. All foreign nationals present in the United States longer than 30 days must register with the federal government. Failure to comply with this is a crime, punishable by fines, imprisonment, or both. As President Trump and Secretary Noem have both said, if you register and you leave now, you choose to self-deport. You may have the opportunity to return later legally. But if not, you will be arrested, fined, deported, never to return to our country again. The Trump administration will continue to enforce our nation's immigration laws. We will not pick and choose which laws to enforce. We must know who is in our country for the safety and the security of our homeland and for all American citizens.
Wow. My, how times have changed. Oh, speaking of which, did you take note of the ad in the upper right-hand corner when I was running that clip of the Windsor mayor endorsing conservative Pierre Poilievre? Look at that. Butter, $4.87 for a pound of butter. Yes, even now, all these years after the adoption of the metric system, we still have pounds of butter. And what a deal, $4.87. Save $2.60 a pound at the real Canadian superstore. What's the price of butter in your neighborhood these days? How does that compare to the price of butter? Let's just check that out, shall we? Let's just see here. Here's butter at Kroger in Michigan, $4.67. Okay. That was Canadian price, right? For a pound of butter, save $2. And keep in mind, that's Canadian dollars. Now let's go look at this. And this is just across the border in like Detroit. Butter, $4.19 a pound. US. Kroger butter sticks. You can get 2 for $7.99. Land O'Lakes butter, $4.49 on sale. Regular $6.49. So you know what? Land O'Lakes butter, those are butter sticks. I don't know, are sticks more expensive than just regular butter? I think it's all about the same. So sticks are not really any more money. $5 for that. That's grass dairy fed butter. And Land O'Lakes salted butter and half sticks, $4.49. Yeah, actually, you know what? If this was, it's more expensive. U.S. butter is more expensive than Canadian butter. Take that to the bank, because $4.69 Canadian to USD is $3.38 US. Yeah. So it's less expensive, even with our supply management systems for dairy products. That's just a real time. That was on the fly. I didn't plan that at all tonight. That's just in a real time, real world price comparison. The price is right on the Canadian side of the border. What else can I tell you? Maybe you can tell me something. I'll tell you what. Let's go to the phones. we'll have a brief call in here, just a brief one. If you want to call in, I'll give you the number right now. Get that dialing finger ready and call me. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Exercise your right to free speech. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. That is the number. Let me put it up on the screen for you. But first, just a reminder that you can support the program by donating at freedomreporters.com, or you can e-transfer to rw581@aol.com. Please complete the security question and apply the note or answer. Make it the word Maverick, all lowercase, so that we automatically know what the answer is going to be, so we're not guessing. And email it to rw581@aol.com. Or you can donate at freedomreporters.com. Also, please like, share. It would really help us a lot. We need to promote these channels to break through this suppression on the algorithm and the growth of the channel. If you like, share, and give us a thumbs up, that really does help a lot. Doesn't cost anything. I hope we've at least earned that tonight. And thank you to everybody just for watching and for being here and for giving us those thumbs up and for the donations that we've had. Can't do it without you. We don't get any other funding. It's just you guys. So without you, there is no program. And really, thank you so much. And especially for the kind words over the past week. Words of encouragement. Got a little discouraged there a few nights ago, and you guys provided some uplifting calls. So thank you. Thank you for that. And with that, let me give you that phone number. Get that on the screen here, right there. The number is 1-647-734-4220, 1-647-734-4220. When prompted, just punch in that PIN number, 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. And wow, what a call-in we had last night. Things got pretty heated over that 51st state tariffs when we had our friend John from the USA call in and share his views on what President Trump is doing with these tariffs. Very interesting. Money. It's all about money. And you know what else is about money? I've been seeing these posts online about $40 billion being spent, approved by the Governor General in Canada, as though it's like some crazy conspiracy or something. And people, I think using it again as clickbait and also as a tool to sort of undermine confidence in government and just make people scratch their heads and think that there's something sinister going on. So I did look into it just a little bit. And you see, we've had Parliament prorogued and now we have Parliament dissolved because we're in the middle of an election. And so without Parliament sitting and government fully functional on the legislative side, you still need a functioning government. And so, yes, it is true that we've had, since prorogation, $40 billion in government money approved, even though you don't have question period in the House of Commons and all the regular stuff that goes on because of Parliament being prorogued and the election going on. But this information actually comes from the Canada Gazette, government publication, where these kinds of declarations or this kind of information is made public for transparency and for that purpose. And here it is right here. This is where the information actually comes from. This is the source. This is factual. And it's just called a special warrant. And yes, it is for $40,343,209,650 is authorized to be paid out of the Consolidated Revenue Fund, effective April 1st, 2025, for the purposes set out in the schedule. Now, from everything I'm seeing, this is like money to just keep the country running, keeping all these government agencies and services running during prorogation. But now I don't have all the information, obviously, because we don't have everything up and running in terms of, what's going on the Hill. But you're looking at, I think, money here that has already been allocated through the budgetary process. And in the overall scheme of things, $40 billion out of a budget of about $490 billion in that range. This is just a fraction of that. And it's, I think, basically to release the funds so that all of these agencies can meet their payroll and pay their bills and perform the functions of the business functions that these government agencies and crown corporations, et cetera, can, so that they can function and continue to operate and provide services to all of us here in Canada. So I don't, as much as people are trying to spin this up online and make you worry about it, it's just a procedural thing, because Parliament is not sitting on this money. Otherwise, it would have just been routinely approved and then would have gone out, because it was already basically approved through the budgetary process. Now, if there are other details related to this, I'm sure we will find that out when the House begins sitting again after the election, and we get more details and transparency on these expenditures. But this I would say is a normal course of events in this situation, and this has happened in the past. And of course, you're getting this not hidden from the public, but fully disclosed for purposes of transparency and explanation by publishing the information in the Canada Gazette, government publication for that very purpose. And we have a caller on the line. And let me just find out who the caller is. Who's on the line with us? Hello? I think maybe they hung up. It appears we lost our caller. I'm sure they'll probably call back. They maybe just got disconnected. I don't know. Let's take a little break. Again, if you want to join the show, you can do that at 1-647-734-4220. Punch in that PIN number at 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign, to the phone number direct, and just follow the instructions when prompted. 1-647-734-4220 if you'd like to join at any point and just share your thoughts on tonight's Pierre Poilievre rally, what's going on with politics, or maybe you want to talk about what that crazy call we had last night, and or maybe Donald Trump and his new picture in the White House. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. Oh, I sent myself a link here. Let me find this for you. This is actually pretty funny. And scary again. This is the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, talking about artificial intelligence at this summit on education, I guess. Or what is this summit? ASU GSV Summit, whatever that is. I'm not exactly sure. But I just stumbled on this clip this morning, and I thought I have to show this to you because it made me laugh. I thought, my God, we are in so much trouble. This is the woman who is now in charge of education in the Trump administration, and I think isn't she related or married to Vince McMahon, like the wrestling star guy, the wrestling tycoon, business tycoon. Anyway, listen to how she refers to artificial intelligence, AI. She doesn't call it AI. Listen to what she calls it.
Letter or report that I heard this morning, I wish I could remember the source, but that there is a school system that's going to start making sure that first graders or even pre-Ks have A1 teaching, every year starting, that far down in the grades. And that's a wonderful thing. Kids are sponges. They just absorb everything. And so it wasn't all that long ago that we're going to have internet in our schools. Woo! Now, okay, let's see A1 and how can that be helpful? How can it be helpful in one-on-one instruction? How can it be helpful in absorbing, more information for those fast learners? It can be more one-on-one directed. And those are the kinds of things and innovations that I want to see continue to develop. Letter or report that I heard this morning, I wish I could remember the source.
She called it A1. A1. Yeah, it's like steak sauce. Oh, my God. Who's on the line over there? All right, hang on a second here, Dragon. I don't have you up on the screen yet. There we go. Now you're on, and everybody can hear you. So, Dragon from Montreal, welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Well, actually, you were right. She's the beloved wife of Mr. Vince McMahon, a.k.a. Mr. WWE. So, yeah. And it's scary to see her, I think, as the board chairman of the education system of the U.S. There's something wrong in there.
A1. It's A1. A1. Yeah. How are we going to compete globally when, with the emergence of artificial intelligence and soon artificial general intelligence, when the people running the education system can't even call it by its proper name? Do you think that somebody like that really understands not just the technology, but its implications for society?
No, she doesn't understand none of it.
Yeah, we're in deep crap. Yeah.
It does make me think of, what was basically Chrystia Freeland to the economic minister that she was, because that wasn't pretty much her place to be, I think. But
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand where you were going with that. What about Chrystia Freeland and AI?
Well, it's just an analogy where she wasn't at her place, basically. It was not, being the economic minister was not the place to be for her, I think. So, yeah, I mean, the same goes with Miss McMahon. She doesn't belong into, I think, where she is as the Congress held minister of the education in the U.S. system. I think it's that's not her place.
So, were you calling in about anything other, any other subject that was specific to your, like, was there anything you wanted to talk about tonight other than what I kind of led you down with? I'm losing losing my train of linguistics here.
I felt good.
Go ahead.
That's what I do. I always make Rick's train of thought goes haywire. That's one thing. Well, actually, you know what? Trump's new portrait is it's something, huh? It's a piece of art. Let's put it this way.
He is a piece of work, isn't he? Trump. He is. I don't know if I'd call him
taking
art.
my word.
Yeah. Just wow. It takes some ego, doesn't it?
Yeah. Does he think that he's the master of all, or a king into a kingdom? Because that sounds to me pretty much what it is.
Yeah. Because
we'll see.
Because he also at the Kennedy Center, he didn't like what they were doing there, so he got rid of the chairman of the board, and I think actually a bunch of the board members over there, and then appointed himself chairman of the board at the Kennedy. Like, okay, man. Like, it's so wow. Like, okay, I don't like what you're doing. I'm going to take your job, and I don't like your picture up there. That's gone. I'm putting my picture up. He does a lot of. He just wow. It's funny. It's funny.
You know, I would ask any psychologist around here to tell me what that looked like. And I think we are seeing something like borderline egocentric, megalomaniac kind of way to go. So it's scary to me.
Yeah, well, people can draw their own conclusions and make their own psychological diagnosis. We've got another caller coming in here. Here we go. Okay, who else is on the line tonight? Oh,
hello.
Hello.
Hey, Sir Rick, happy Friday.
Well, thank you, and happy Friday to you too, Sandy. And I'm glad you're here because you know what? You don't even speak yet, because I know we're in for a special treat with you tonight. Dragon, we're getting close to the end of the broadcast here. Get a final thought from you. Then we're coming over to Sandy, and we're going to get something, I think, special from Sandy tonight. So you go ahead with your final
Dragon.
thought.
Well, hello, Cindy. I'll go with a quick last thought. Well, tomorrow I might call on and I will give you a layout of something that has been happening for the last 3 years, probably. And I'll provide Rick with some link so he can show you what I'm talking about. And actually, John, yesterday, and not the guy from US, but the guy from our good old John from Alberta, lay out probably a bit of questioning about a certain Lieutenant Steve Rogers. So we'll see about what I can get from that tomorrow.
Okay. And Sandy, I got your message today. You phoned and you left me a voicemail, and you made me smile. And oh, hang on, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. Maybe Dragon jumped off. Okay, that's all right. So you
stay on if you want. No worry.
So you have decided to embark on a new career as a stand-up comic. So you did leave me a joke on in my voicemail. So I think maybe, is that why you're calling tonight, to share a joke with us
Well,
to close off the program?
Sort of. Yeah, I was thinking of your dad and how much he always doing a joke, and I can relate to him on that. And I made a joke today, and I got a few laughing at it. And
Okay, well, lay it on us there, Sandy. Take us home so we can bring this broadcast to a
okay, I'll do my best. What's a politician's favorite pastime?
I don't know. What is a politician's favorite pastime?
Making cabinets in the caucus, caulking.
Okay. Thank you for that, Sandy. Yeah, just a little play on Pierre Poilievre's little joke in his.
I know, it's humor. It's dry.
Yeah. Well, it's a dad joke, but even though you're not a dad, but that's okay.
I'm not a dad. I am a sister, and I'm a sibling, and I'm an aunt. But when I heard that, oh my gosh.
And you are a ray of sunshine. Always appreciate it when you call in, because just the sound of your voice is always uplifting, and I appreciate that. I thank you for it.
Rick, I had a dental appointment the other day, and it went very well. I have to go back. I'm getting some work done. And it's exciting, and it's very good. It's excellent.
Is that as a result of the dental program from the government that
That's
you were able
the
to do that?
dental program, and it's going to be fully covered.
Wow. So tell me, Sandy, if it wasn't for that, would you have been able to get that dental work done or not?
Partial per se. We don't know right now because it's going to be on a file, and I'm just waiting for it to process.
Yeah.
And it's going to go through, and I'm just waiting for it in the next couple of days.
Right, but I'm just saying, if it hadn't been for that, would you have been able to? Could you have paid for that yourself without that program?
Out of pocket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have afforded that without the program. Would you have had the work done? That's the question.
Without the program,
Yeah.
I would have been out of pocket.
Yeah. And do you know how much it would have cost? Would it have? I'm just
$2,000.
$2,000. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that would have been probably difficult for you, right? To come up with that money.
Yes and no. If you have family, you have coverage. If you have family, you have everything.
Well, that's true. That's very true. Well,
Isn't that true, Rick?
That is true. Well, thank you, Sandy, for calling in tonight, sharing all that with us. I really appreciate it. And
You're very welcome. Do you know what I paid for a pound of butter this week?
no idea, about $4.70.
$1.88.
What? Where did you get
In
butter
my
for
area?
$1.88?
In my area, it was on sale. It was with not even a coupon.
Oh.
$1.88.
Holy smokes. Well, we've got another caller on the line. Who's there?
Can I stay on with your caller?
Very briefly, we're going to wrap up here, but the call
Okay.
came in, so I'm taking the call. Who is it on the line?
It's Isabel. It's just a brief call.
Yeah.
You're talking about the dental plans through the government?
Yeah.
Isabel!
Yeah, that's a lot of bull.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they told me I was covered 100%.
Uh-huh.
I said, great, because I can't afford $3,800 for a set of teeth.
Yeah.
Because that's what they cost. When I went to my denturist, and he said, well, when you get your card, we'll scan it. So when I got the card, I scanned it.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, no, that doesn't cover that. He said, through Sun Life, they don't cover that. I said, but they said 100% because of my age. He goes, 100% of what they cover. So there's the fish hook.
Okay. 100% of
Because
what they cover.
And all they would cover for me
Well,
was a liner for the bottom plate, and I still had to pay $50.
So you have coverage through Sun Life?
That's what the plan is from the government. It's through Sun Life.
Oh, it is it? Okay. I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's through Sun Life.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, I'm going to get, because I need a new set.
Yeah.
But I don't have $3,800 or $3,900 because that's what they cost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I'll get a new set. And then when I went through it, I went, wait a minute. And I said to him, I said, Jason, what are you talking about? He goes, no, he said, Sun Life will cover 100% of what they allow you. I said, well, it says 100%. And because of my age, it did say full dentures. And I said, like, so what happened? He goes, don't ask.
Yeah, my dad had some work done too.
I have one for you.
I have to talk to him.
I have a story for you, Ray.
Okay, really quick, Sandy, because we got to wrap up.
Okay. I heard this week a male went into his dental appointment. His work was around $800. Do you know what he paid when he left?
No idea.
$100.
No, okay.
$100.
$100.
$100. He got it fully covered.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
you need to do your homework. Do your homework.
I'm going to do my homework because my dad had some dental work done just recently, and
Yes.
and I'm going to check with him to find out what his experience was too. So, with that,
Yeah,
guys, we're
you
gonna
will get
wrap
it
up.
eventually.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up. We got to go. And what I'm going to do is I put together a little bit of a highlight reel from last night's call-in show because things got so
John America?
colorful
Oh, God.
with John from America. So I thought we'd do a little replay tonight.
He scared me. I
Did
was
he?
scared.
Yeah, well, some people are getting scared because of all the stuff going on over the border. But don't be afeared, Sandy. There's nothing to fear but fear itself, as
The
they
only
say.
thing in fear is fear itself.
That's right. Just spit in the eye of fear, and we'll be back.
Kick its ass, Isabel. Kick its ass.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna be okay. And with
Girl,
that,
you're gonna
guys,
get there, girl. I have faith in you, girl.
all right.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody. I'll be back here, I guess, in about an hour with Maverick Midnight Matinee for all you midnight movie lovers. I'm still in the process of
Oh, what's
deciding
the
what.
movie? Oh, don't tell.
I'm not going to
Don't
tell you. It's going to be a surprise because I'm not even sure myself. I've got a few options lined up. I just haven't quite decided yet. So it's going to be a surprise for me too, I think, by the
hope
time
you
we
come,
get to the top of
Isabel.
the hour. And
I'll be here.
and thank you guys for calling in tonight and helping me close off the program. I'll be back here in an hour. And if you're not joining us for the movie, I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern.
I hope Dragon's still there, Isabel. We
On-
love you.
I'll see you guys.
Sorry.
That's okay. One more time. Catch you all 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. When? Where?
On the flip side.
On the flip
You
side.
got it. Here's the highlight reel.
Donald Trump's Great Reset Explained to Canadians. By John, who says the US doesn't need Canada at all.
These tariffs, now, okay, we are ready to have short-term suffering and to go through suffering and on the other end of it, bring about the golden age of America.
You're not buying my Alberta oil at a discount anymore. Full price, baby. Fuck you in the United States. You're not buying Alberta oil at a discount anymore. Pay up. Pay
We don't need your oil.
You
I
know
don't
what?
need your
You
oil.
need my oil.
America
Pay up.
doesn't need
Well,
your oil. We don't
come
need you.
on
Fuck
and
you.
you
We don't
explain-
need you. No, hold
You
on.
come
We
on
don't
here.
need you, you arrogant shit. We don't
You
need
come
you.
on here
You need America.
and
You
you
don't need
say-
we don't need you. We have
Oh
all
my
the
God.
oil we could ever
You
need.
need
Fuck you.
potash,
Fuck you.
steel, aluminum.
Fuck
You need everything.
Hey,
Wow.
hey,
Wow.
I thought you were
No,
coming
he
on
started
here
it.
to
He
have a
started it.
discussion.
We don't
and
need
you
your
come on
resources.
here and
You
you
need
harass
us. You
all
need
the
us.
Canadians.
And it's time that you realize that. You need us. We don't need you.
We
You
don't
understand?
need
Well,
you.
We don't need you.
How?
We have poutine in America. I hate to break it to you,
Oh,
but
my
thousands of French Canadians came to America. We have
Americans
poutine.
don't make
We have
poutine.
winter. We
Canadians
have
do.
everything that you have. God bless America and Canada. If you know what's best for you, vote for Poilievre. Even though I can't say his name, Vote for him and America first. God bless President Trump. God bless America. Gulf of America.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
Say one thing, Rick. You, my friend, are an anti-American communist. Oh.
You poked the beaver.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.